happening all the time. So for tonight's projects, I'm going to be using the Wonderworld Stamp Set that will be available in the Sale-a-Bration catalog come July. And the Stampin' Up! Is also offering this designer series paper to go with it. And when you spend $100 starting July 1st, you'll receive the designer series paper and the stamp set. So that's what I am going to be using tonight. It's such a pretty set, and I just love the colors. So tonight I decided to use colors that are a little different. I'm using Flirty Flamingo and Rich Raspberry with basic white. Now these stamps, they give you the opportunity to stamp it all in one color, like I did here, or stamp them with and using two different colors, and I did that with the Stampin' Right markers. Hey, hello, Facebook user. That must be Karen. I'm also going to be using the Go-To Greeting set. I just love the font on this set. Plus, I'll be using the postage stamp punch, another item that I have had and never used before. So that's something new. And tonight, let me just click this. Okay. So tonight what I'm going to do is, at the end of the video, I'm going to be giving away a brand new pack of Simply Marvelous 6x6 Designer Series paper. And there's 48 sheets in here. It's never been opened. And that's what I will be giving away to one lucky winner tonight. So all you have to do, no hashtags tonight, all you have to do is comment. And I will do the drawing at the end of at the end of the stream. So here is the first card. And then the second card I used the Quatra foil embossing folder, some of the DSP, two different patterns of the DSP, and then just added this to the inside. Hey Karen, how are you, honey? 90. Oh my goodness, it's rainy and chilly here today in Pennsylvania. And then I made this cute little Post-it note holder. And if you open this up, I can get it untied. It just opens up and it's a little Post-it holder. So 3 cute little projects tonight that'll go pretty quickly. So we'll start with this card right now. And again, like I said, I'm using Flirty Flamingo, and it's 11 by 4 1/4. Now, before I forget, if you're in the Pennsylvania area, or if you're outside of the area and wanted to stay over, I would find you a place in the area. There's plenty, but I'm holding an event in October. I'd love to be able to meet you. Hey, Kathy. Yes, you need rain. We've had plenty of rain, and the same though. We really do need the rain lately too. Everything is so dry. All right, so then we have our Rich Raspberry, and this is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I'm using the basic white, and it is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Now I'm going to just lay this down on the layer, and you'll notice it is off just a little bit. And that sometimes happens when you emboss. So it should be, let me just check it again. It should be 3 7/8. So I am just going to, don't mind me, make sure it is at 3 7/8, and it just is a little tiny piece. And why? That is because it just stretches the paper out, and I just want to get this 5 1/8, and it doesn't go, so it should be about there. And I just want to take off another tiny piece so it'll fit perfectly on this layer. And that looks pretty good. So let's get these glued together. I forgot to put my cap on. Hey, Kathy. How are you, sweetie? The weather has been simply crazy for sure. We had some hot weather and it was unbearable. And then all of a sudden it cooled off so much. And then we've had rain on and off for the last few days. So it's just crazy, crazy. All right, so we're just going to layer these together. Hope everybody else is doing well. I've been playing catch up. Hopefully, I got a lot done today, so that was good. Okay, so now I have another piece of rich raspberry, and this is going to go right here on the front of the card. And it is 5 1/8 by 2. And then this one is 5 1/8 by 1 7/8. And I'm going to, again, we're going to layer these together. Now, even the back of this paper is really pretty. And this is the side of the paper that I used the punch to punch out the image for the front of the little Post-it note holder. So I'm just going to lay this on, making sure that it's on here and it's centered. And then I'm just going to put it down against my table and push that designer series paper down so it's flush on the bottom. Just going to scoot that over a little bit. And you can see that there's a little bit of a hangover. So I'm just going to put this in my cutter. And I just want to cut that little tiny piece of designer series paper off. And I'm going to recheck to make sure it's going to fit on my basic white. And then we're again going to just add some glue and layer this on the front of the card. Now we want it centered from side to side. So whoops, my finger has a little bit of glue on it. So I'm just going to lift it up, make sure it's on here straight. And that looks like it. Whoops, it was straight. Okay, that's better. Okay, so there's the front of our card coming together. Now again, I have the designer series paper with the smaller little roses. And then I took a piece and it is 3 7/8 by about 1 1/2. And I die cut it with the scalloped contour dies. Now it does look like it's a little off, so I'm just going to stick it in here and we're going to cut this down, and I'm going to use the scallops to make sure I have it straight. So we're just going to trim that down a little bit. And then I'm going to layer my designer series paper on, and I'm going to put it just above these stitches where the scallop comes up. But I first want to make sure that it's going to fit side to side, and it does. So let's add some glue. And you know what? I want this larger piece. That one's for the inside of the card. So I'm just lining it up so it's just above these stitches where the scallop comes up. And it's a good way to make sure that your designer series paper is on there straight. I just want to eyeball it here. And I just want to trim off the edge. I'm going to use that scallop as my guide. And we're just going to do the same thing on this side. Just so we have nice flush edges. And then we're going to take this whole layer and add it right here to the card. And this goes from edge to edge on the embossed layer. So you just want to make sure it's on here straight again. Okay. Hey, Pam. Thank you. Hey, Kathy. How are you? Thanks, ladies. North Carolina is warm too, huh? Thanks, Lottie. Yeah, me too. They're just a little bit different. I haven't really used these as a combination, but I really like them. Okay, so now I have the rich raspberry, and I used the layering circles and did the scalloped. And this is the 2 7/8 of an inch scallop. And this one we're going to pop up onto the front of the card. Now the layers here will make a little bit of a difference. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to put my dimensionals down the center of this circle. This way it won't catch off the sides, because even though the paper is thin, you can feel a ridge, and I don't want this to be lopsided. So I am going to layer this on the front of the card, again, making sure it's pretty centered. And then we have our circle popped up on the front of the card. Now, before we go any further, so our ribbon has a chance to dry, I'm actually using pale papaya. I have a few rolls of this, and it's perfect coloring in a darker color because it doesn't really show through. So I'm just going to take my pale papaya ribbon, and I'm grabbing some Flirty Flamingo, the dark blend Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to just color this up, give it a chance to dry so we don't get Flirty Flamingo all over the place. You know how I am when my fingers get inky. Okay, so that's good. We'll put that aside. Now, I'm going to keep my paper out here. So now we have our basic white circle. And this one is about 2 5/8. You don't have to keep track of measurements. Oh, the DSP is called Wonderful World. It matches this stamp set, and it will be available, it'll be available during Sale-a-Bration starting July 1st. With a $100 purchase, you can get the stamp set and the designer series paper. Hi, Dawn. How are you? Okay, so let's pull our card back in, and you'll notice that I have my green stems and the Flirty Flamingo flower. Now, what I'm going to do is, here's my flower. I'm going to pull out my Flirty Flamingo stamp pad, and I'm going to ink it up. Now, when you my ink pad is very juicy and I don't like the way it looks when I first stamp it. So I'm going to stamp this off. And it doesn't really look too bad there. But now that it's stamped off, and I know this seems crazy, but if you've ever seen roses, the stems are not really all green. They do have some of the rose color in it. So I am going to take my Stampin' Right marker and I am going to color in the leaves. Now you want to do this with your Stampin' Right markers, these, and not your Stampin' Blends. And we're just going to now take this and stamp it right in the middle of the circle. Now you can see I made a little boo-boo there. And you can see that the Flirty Flamingo is coming through on the stem itself. Like I said, if you look at a rose bush, it really isn't, the greenery isn't all really green. There is some of the flower color in the stems. Let me see if I can get this off. And it might not, so we'll have to move my ribbon down. I'll fix it that way. So now that we have that stamped, I'm going to pull my Flirty Flamingo out again. And we're going to take our blending brush and we're just going to go around the edge of the circle. And don't be afraid to get it on the front of the circle. We're just adding some color to take up some of that white around the flower. So now our ribbon is dry. Hello, Florida. Hi, Janet. How are you? Like I said at the beginning, if you stay till the end, I will be doing a drawing, and I'm giving away a brand new pack of the Simply Marvelous paper. All right, so now we have our bow. And let's get these tails clipped. And like I said, you could see I made a little boo-boo there. But I'll take my bow and we'll actually move it down a little bit on the rose. And it'll be hidden by the bow. So now that our circle is done, let's pull our card back in. And we can add some glue. And we're going to set this right on the front of the card. And I'm going to pull in some pearls that I actually colored with the dark Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to put one up here in this corner, one down here in this corner, and then I'm just going to add one right here by the rose. And there is the front of our card. Just quick and easy, yet very pretty, right? Okay, so now let's pull in the inside. Let's put these pearls over here so they don't walk away. I have my rich raspberry, and this is 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have the basic white. Let's make sure it's going to fit on here. And I'm going to trim this up again. I was cutting so much paper today. It seems like some of my cuts are just off by a hair. All right, and this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So for the inside of this card, I did just a note. And again, this is from the Go-To Greeting Stamp Set that you can find in the new annual catalog. I did, let me just put my label on, and like I always say, I'm going to take out a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to grab my Flirty Flamingo, and just because I have my sticker on, I'm not sure if this is going to be straight or not. So I'm just going to stamp, and that looks like it is pretty straight. So we're going to put, oh, that's thank you. I don't want that. I want just a note. Isn't that what I want? Yes, just a note. So let me do that again. Okay. So we're just going to ink it up. Let's put this right here. And that didn't work. So let's turn it over. Thank goodness we have, I'm trying not to rock. There we go. And I ended up just getting half of the stamp set. So that's what I get trying to be careful, right? All right, so now I have the same scalloped edge that we used on the front. And this is about an inch by 3 7/8. And this one's a little bit long, but it'll be 3 7/8 by just about a little over 3/4. And we're just, again, going to adhere this using the stitching and where that scallop comes up as a guide. I'm going to push it onto my table so it comes flush to the end. And then we're going to add some glue. And we're going to do the same thing on the card. We're going to lay it down. I'm going to hold it up, push it down so it's flush with the side. Make sure it's on there straight. And then I can trim this off. Let me just grab my scissors. And we're going to just trim that off right like that. I'm not going to use glue to adhere it to the inside of the card so I don't see the glue. Sometimes it shows through. So we'll use some seal. And just get it on here so it is centered. Add some more glue. And then we can add it right here to the center of our card. And then there is card number 1. Quick and easy. Hey, Kathleen, how are you? Thank you, thank you. I do love the font too, Dawn. Isn't it beautiful? I am not one to, here it is. I usually stay away from sentiment stamps because most of our stamp sets have sentiments in them. So I usually stay away from them. But I just love the font, especially these first 4. They're just amazing. I love them. So there is card number 1. If you're joining us late, I'll be giving away this marvelous, simply marvelous 6x6 designer series paper. It's brand new, 46 sheets in the package, and all you have to do is comment. That's all you have to do. Thanks, Karen. And you will be in the drawing. Okay, so card number 2. Again, Flirty Flamingo, but this time we're doing it 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. Okay. Then we have a layer of Rich Razzleberry, and let's see if I did this one. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, which is going to go on the front of the card. And then this really pretty DSP 5 1/4 by 4. I just want to check to make sure, okay, that I cut it right. Even this side is pretty. The papers in this set are just really pretty. And I love the idea that you can get it for free. That's really amazing. I'll be raffling one off during my event. The paper and a stamp set, so that'll be fun. All right, so now we have these layered, just like that. And we are going to pull our paper out again, and I am going to color up some ribbon so we can give it a chance to dry. And I'm cutting 2 because this layer here I'm going to wrap. You know, I don't like wrapping and tying bows at the same time, so I cheat. And so this one is going to be the one that gets wrapped. And this is the one that I am going to tie a bow. So again, it's the dark Flirty Flamingo blend. So we're just going to take those and put them aside. Now I have a layer of Flirty Flamingo that's going to be popped up onto the front of the card, and this is 2 3/4 by 4. Then I have a basic white that is 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. For this layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my blend again and my Flirty Flamingo, and all I'm going to do is add a little bit of color to the center of this layer. Nothing crazy. We're just going to buff in a little bit of color, just so it isn't so stark white. You don't have to put too much pressure on. But you can see it's just very subtle. You can do it as dark or as light as you want. So we're just going to leave it just like that. And we're going to leave our stamp set out, because now we're going to pull out this larger stamp. I'm just looking to make sure there are no marks on it. And we're going to ink this one up. And again, I am going to stamp off. Although that really looks pretty, I like the way it looks when it's stamped off. And we're just going to center this on this layer and stamp. You can see when you stamp off, there's just a little bit more texture and variation of color. Really, wrapping it and tying a bow is easier? No, I find it so hard. Thanks, Kathy. Hello, Gillette, Wyoming. Thank you so much. I love Wyoming. When we were truck drivers, we were cross country, and I used to, both my husband and I drove, and I loved Wyoming. Of all places, right? It was like one of my favorite states. Okay, so now we're just going to take this and we're going to layer it on the Flirty Flamingo. And I want to make sure that it's on here centered and straight. And that looks like it might be off a tad. So let me see if I can't lift it and scooch it over. Just like that. Okay? Now, like I just got over saying, I do not like wrapping and tying bows. How crazy is that? And I am going to, if I can find it, grab my little tool, and I'm actually going to just add some glue dots to either end of this piece of ribbon. And I'm going to make sure I have them both on the same side. And like I said, I cheat. So I'm just going to layer this on. And I'm just going to tuck this ribbon under. Just like that. Okay. Then we're going to grab another piece of ribbon and we're going to tie our bow. And if you place a $35 order by Monday, you'll get these make and takes in the mail from me. And use the host code that is on the screen. All right, so now that the bow is tied, I want to make sure that center knot is nice and tight so it gives you nice fluffy loops. Can't talk tonight. It's actually, the reason being that it's getting warm in here. And once it starts getting warm, I just don't do well in the heat. All right, so we're going to take another glue dot, and I am just going to lay the glue dot on the ribbon and then attach my bow, just like that. So now our layer has our ribbon. Let's just grab some dimensionals, and we're going to pop this up right onto the front of the card. We got more of these lovely little pieces of dimensional paper. I track these things all over the house. They're a nightmare. All right, let's just make sure it opens the right way. And then we're going to center this on the front of the card. And then let's grab some pearls. I have another set here that I just have to, whoops, color two of these pearls. Let them dry for a second. But I'm going to take a larger pearl that I already colored, and I'm going to put it down here on the bottom right hand corner. And the two smaller pearls that I hope they're dry, should be, it's pretty warm in here. I'm going to layer these right up here on this corner. And I want to be careful because if they're not dry, just make sure. Okay. So there is the front of our second card. Just like that. All right, so now we have the center of the card, and I'm just looking. Give me 2 seconds. I forgot to cut another basic white for the inside. So just give me 1 second. And it should be what? 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, quick and easy. So for this one, we're going to stamp that same flower that we used on the front of the card for the center of the card. And I am again going to use my Flirty Flamingo. I'm going to turn it sideways, and we're going to ink up, stamp off, and then we're going to lay these right here on this side. And then for this card, excuse me, this is the card that I'm using, the thank you. So let's just make sure that's on here straight. And that looks good. So I'm just going to layer this right here on this bottom right hand corner. Take this out of the way. Add some seal. My rich raspberry. Make sure everything is even. And then layer this on the inside of the card. Now, if you wanted, you could do the flowers as a silhouette and pick your colors and stamp these flowers in black. So there is card number 2. Another quick and easy card. Hey, Margaret. Oh, you're having trouble with your internet. Yes, the DSP is gorgeous. Thank you, Marilyn. Just gonna check. Okay. Last project. Again, it's this cute little Post-it note holder. And actually, Pam, as you can see, this one I did wrap the ribbon and tie it. How crazy is that? I just found it easier. So I'm just going to actually, let's grab a length of ribbon again. And before we start, I'm going to color this up, hoping that I pulled enough out. And again, just giving it a chance to dry. Don't you guys just love the idea that we can change the color of the ribbon to suit our card? There are times where you just don't have the right color, and all you have to do is grab a blend and color that ribbon just how you need it. And like I said, this pale papaya is perfect for this because it really doesn't change the color of the blend at all. Okay, so last project. And as long as you are, hey Kay, yes, definitely. These are adorable little gifts for just a thinking of you. So we have our Flirty Flamingo, and it is 6 3/4 by 2 1/4. Now that is because I am using, and let me just pull one out because I have the package right here, these sticky notes, and it's a 3 by 2, and they're not even Post-its. They are from Amazon. Sticky notes, 3 by 2 inches. So I added 1/4 of an inch, 2 1/4, and 1/4 of an inch this way. So like I said, you do not need to write down the measurements. I'll have a PDF for you tomorrow. And I scored it at 3 1/8 and 3 5/8. So we could hold the little Post-it note. So we're just going to fold and burnish. And I don't even think, did I pull? Oh, I pulled the green one out. I did pull one out. So they're cute. Like I said, you can get them on Amazon. So what I'm going to just do is I am going to add, and you could use tear and tape if you wanted. I'm going to use glue. And you want to put it so it is right up to that fold. Okay, so push this piece up and just put it up to that fold, making sure that your little notebook is squared or even on each side. So when it closes, okay, such a quick and easy project. Then we have some rich raspberry, and this is 2 1/8 by 3. And then I have some designer series paper that is 2 7/8 by 2. And we're just going to add a bit of glue and layer this right on top. I'm going to lift it up so I can get it on here straight. Now, what's also fun with these little notebooks, you can get those RSVP, Pentel RSVP pens, and you can unscrew it and put designer series paper in the clear barrel, which is fun to match. All right, so we're just going to adhere some glue. And add this right to the top, just like that. Then I have another little piece of rich raspberry, and this is 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. And what I actually did is, and let me just grab a piece of this designer series paper so you can see all I did. This is a sample of all the different flowers, so you can make these with all different flowers. I just took my postage stamp, the punch, and lined it up so the flower is in the center, and then punched it. And I used the flower that we used on the second card. This one's in purple with green stems, and you can do that using your Stampin' Right markers. So if you wanted to match your card to the flower, just ink it up with your Stampin' Right markers. All right. So we're just going to layer this down. I'm going to make sure that it's on there straight. And then I am going to pop this up onto the front. So let's grab some dimensionals, and I'm going to put one on either end, just like this. You could put 2 and 2 if you wanted, but I'm just going to use the one. And at the same time, I'm just going to lay my ribbon down, and we want to center this on the top here. I think that's straight, just like that. All right, so let's do our drawing. We're going to share my screens. Hi, Ruth. Yes, definitely a great party favor. I am going to share my screen, and we're going to pick a winner. Hopefully this works tonight. Okay, so here we go. And the winner is Karen, congratulations, honey. Awesome. So you are the winner to tonight's drawing, and I will get that into the mail over the weekend. All right, so let me just grab my pearls here, and I am going to color up. I only colored up 3, and I'll show you the little Post-it note. And the reason I only did these 3 corners is with the bow here, that third one will be covered up. That's the only reason I only put 3. So let's get our pearls on here. Oops. Two. And 3. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. So we're going to just make sure our ribbon is all the same direction and it's laying flat. Put the knot here, and let's tie our bow. See, when I tie a bow like this, you would think I wouldn't be able to tie my own shoes, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm just being intimidated by the whole thing, worrying about having a nice bow. So I'm just going to stick my fingers in here, just like this, and then I'm going to pull. See? I just can't do it, ladies. Well, that's not bad. All right. It just never works. I want these down here. Let's give this a trim. Now this bow, I can see that bottom corner. So I'm going to just color up another one. And we're going to add it to the bottom. Okay, so we have our cute little Post-it notes, a monochromatic card, and then we have our card using Stampin' Right markers. You're welcome, Karen. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed tonight's projects. I'll be back on Saturday with Simple Saturday, and I think I'm going to be using the palm dies. I'm not sure yet, but I think that's the set I'm going to be using. So have a great rest of your night, and I'll have everything posted. Thanks, Em. Thank you. And I will have everything posted for you tomorrow. I think I'm going to run to the grocery store in the morning, so it'll be out by 12. Thanks for joining me tonight, and have a great night. Thank you so much.